All right, welcome to Vibe Osmosis. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
It's been all right, man. Thank you for asking. Go ahead and introduce yourself and what you do.
Yeah, I'm Kingcon2k11, otherwise known as Connor. I make music videos and AI art and direct and edit and inform and teach and
Yeah.
make art.
How long have you been doing this? The like digital media and like drawing and stuff.
I started off like editing in like 2017. I was just making like shit posts and YouTube poops and stuff. And then I started doing music videos and then I got into like AI stuff in like 2019. And yeah, so like nearly 5 years for like the AI stuff at this point and quite a while in terms of just editing.
I mean, I've seen and followed your work for quite some time now, but I've seen that you did something that got featured on Fox News about like Hunter Biden's laptop. That was so wild on AI and like a lot of weirdness going on. What inspired some of that, or what brought you to that?
Yeah, so usually every year around Christmas, I like to make a Christmas music video for some kind of Christmas song. Last year, I was listening to Ariel Pink's Substack where he releases his demos
Yeah.
and unreleased music. He had one for the song Rudolph's Laptop, and I didn't even know what it was about at the time. Like, I didn't even know the politics behind it. I just thought, hey, this is a sick Christmas song. I want to do a
Yeah.
video for it. So I approached him, asked him to do that. And then one of my other friends who I was working on it with, Dead Handed, he's a lot more like involved with all of that stuff. Like he works with like Sam Hyde and people. So like he informed me on what we're about, and then that kind of like inspired the direction of the video with like the Joe Biden parodies and just matching the lyrics to the visuals really. But yeah, getting it on Fox News was fucking insane. Like I remember when Ariel messaged me that was happening, I was like, holy shit, this is gonna cause controversy, but it's gonna be funny as fuck. And it
Yeah.
was, and ultimately, I think it's one of the best things that ever happened to me, and it makes a great story.
And I'd say like the editing style and like the direction of that music video is just very crazy and like immersive and expressive and it's kind of funny like right now for Americans we're getting like a lot of the backlash upon like what Hunter Biden was up to for
Yeah.
thus this long. Yeah, let's get back into it. Um. Do you care to mention how old you are?
Yeah, I'm 23.
Nice. I'm
Started editing when I
27.
was 17. How about you? How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 2017, and I'm 27, and like
You're
I've been
you're old.
yeah I'm 2017, but I'm 27, and I think I've been like I'd say like a more like I've been focused more on like Spirit Navigators kind of stuff since about like 2015, 2016. And it might maybe like 2016 was like the first time I ever did like my first show, but 2017 and 2018 was like the years where I got like out on the road and tried to like, tour
Yeah.
and go travel the United States first off. That was like my first big one. Um let's get into it. Do you know what's the definition behind King Khan? Or where did that name, come from?
That's just my old Xbox Live gamer tag from when I was like 11. And I just, I kept it as my YouTube handle too. And then I just kept it for sentimental reasons, and now it's all of this, so it's great.
And where are you based now? Have you always lived out in Europe?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm from England, still live here for now. But yeah, in Yorkshire, South
Yeah.
Yorkshire, tiny little village. Uh, but yeah, yeah. Recently through the work, I've been able to go to New York a few times, and it's been great. And yeah, definitely want to go there more and see more of America as you did.
I'm a really big fan of New York. I think like even upstate New York has a lot to offer.
Yeah, yeah. It's
It's always
beautiful.
fun. what would you say is like your favorite aspect about coming to New York then?
The people. A lot of my fans and people I work with and friends are in New York. Yeah, I mean, there's not many people on the same wave as like the stuff that I do around here. I mean, there's people like David Firth,
Yeah,
uh,
great shout out.
who's amazing, and a few other people in some of the nearer cities, but I live in like the middle of the countryside, so it's just me here.
What would you say like inspires some of the artwork? Did you have like artists you always looked up to that you were like, oh, I can do this too?
Oh
Or
yeah, definitely.
yeah?
Yeah, that's how I started editing music videos. I was just watching this dude on YouTube, David Dean Burkhart, who do like just fan edits
Yeah.
to music, same way I started. And Def Grip's music videos were a big inspiration too, in the way that they just used like Premiere and stuff like that to edit and make shit look fucked up. And that's how I did a lot of my early stuff. And then when it comes to like AI though, I feel like a lot of that stuff has mostly just been influenced by like I don't know the the ideas I have rather than like many other like AI artists.
Now, the kind of AI that you work with, is it like prompt based or is it code in and try to actually like manipulate every like kind of action and scene that's happening, or how does it work for you?
It depends on the video. Like everyone's different, really. Like most of the stuff that's on my Instagram, that's not like full-length music videos. That's just like a post. Like that's usually prompt based, and then yeah, well, usually for that stuff, it's like, you train a data set on AI for a style that you want, and then you generate images with prompts, and then you animate the images, and then you edit it together, etc. But, there's other like AI videos, like the aerial one. Like probably like 6 days of that was spent just trying to get Stable Diffusion working on my laptop with the right parameters to get it all done in time to have it released on Christmas Day, and like working with multiple people and friends to get that running and working. But yeah, I mean, it really is different every time.
What got you inspired or interested in doing AI work as well?
Just its potential and the shit that we're able to do, really. The first ever video that I used AI in was a JPEG Mafia
Oh,
fan
great.
edit that I did for his cover of I Don't Want No Scrubs.
That's
And
right. That's great. This is an awesome one. Yes, I'm really
yeah,
familiar.
so I just used deep fakes on that to make, TLC into him. But because my computer was trash, it came out looking like really glitchy and weird. But I feel like that added to it more. And then I sort of leaned into that aesthetic more when it came to the AI too. And yeah, through doing that and just like DMing my favorite artists and shit on Instagram, being like, "Can I work with you?" That's how I was able to start doing this and like make a career and living off of it.
And to mention, I guess, career and doing new things. When you came out to New York, you were doing a class or a couple classes about AI workshop. Go ahead and mention a little bit what you were doing then.
Yeah, so before I went, I get people asking me all the time like how I do what I do, and it takes quite a while to just send the same reply again and again. So I thought I'll just put on a class, considering a lot of my audience is in New York and I could record it and like put it online afterwards. And my friend Evan, who I was staying with most of the time there, he knows this guy who owns this weed shop, and that dude is like the guy who Adam Sandler's character in Uncut Gems is based off of. He's a diamond dealer, and he's like friends with like the Safdie Bros and like Adam Sandler and everyone like that. And we just went to him and his son's weed store and we're like, "Hey, I make AI stuff. I'd love to put on a class. Would you be down for me to do it here?" And they were like, "Hell yeah!" And then we did it. It was a great night, great turnout, nice little class, which is up on YouTube on my channel now. If anyone wants to check it out and learn AI skills, and yeah, just surreal that it was hosted there and with that dude.
What would you say is like a favorite Safdie film, or right now with the whole TV show, The Curse? Uh,
Yeah, I fucking
yeah,
love The Curse.
yeah, it's very interesting. I've been watching it too.
Yeah, it's crazy that the audience scores for it so low.
Definitely, because it's a little bit abstract, and you're still trying to like develop like who are these characters and like what
Yeah,
exactly are their motives and intentions. That's one thing I think that really grabs the audience of like I didn't ever see I mean I never seen Nathan act so
yeah,
have
he's
such
really showed his range as an actor in
definitely.
this. So tense as most Safdie Bros projects are, but his
Yeah.
directing, Nathan's directing is amazing too.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite of all time of theirs right now?
Uh, Probably good time still,
Yeah,
honestly.
me too. I'm a big fan of that one. When that dropped, it was the elevation of like heaven knows what for people.
Yeah,
Yeah, were fans and like that knew of like what they were doing, and then that dropped. It was just like this is like a whole new standard. And of course, whenever Uncut Gems came out, that was like one of the movies I went to this theaters to see like 3 or 4 times, and then whenever it came out on VOD, I was just like recommending it to all my friends. I hadn't seen it yet. I was like, you need to go see this. Like, you want to talk about smoking cigarettes and watching a film and standing up, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like that was just one of those movies where I was like, it just, tapped into kind of like that element of like what it's also like to live in New York.
oh yeah, definitely. Like I
Yeah,
specifically went to the Diamond District this
yeah.
time I was here just to get a feel of what it's like
So
from the
fast
movie.
paced and like so much is going on, and I feel like especially for artists it's just like night after night, and different interactions. You never know what you're going to get, especially like if you're going
Yeah,
to like a private showing or a pop-up show where somebody's playing and like random dramas happening. That
yeah,
kind of stuff I feel like is just so relatable, especially if it like hits at home for you in that moment too of like, oh yeah, I remember that one time I went out to that AV Tear show or something, and I was fighting with my partner at that time or whatever.
yeah. Oh yeah, I saw that you did an interview with AV recently.
I'm a really big fan. Like to me, like
Me too.
I tap into, I guess, like the artists that I listen to, and like whenever they go on shows, try to buy as many tickets and go to that show, because like you never know if that's like your last chance and that kind of.
Exactly, yeah.
I am sorry I didn't get to come out to the city for that one.
Ah, it's all good. Hey,
Most
we're
of the
here
time,
now.
most of the time I am upstate New York, but right now I'm like in that transition of packing and moving and that whole thing. Yeah, yeah, we'll get back into it. Do you have like favorite movies?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I could like list like a top five or anything, but
We'll go for
you
at least three. We'll go for at least three then.
okay. Well, I'll try and give like one of my favorite comedies. Maybe like There's Something About Mary. I don't know, that's like one of my like comfort movies too, I guess. Like whenever I'm having a bad time, I just put that on. It's like this Jonathan Richman soundtrack, the fucking Farley Bros, like dumb, like offensive, gross out humor. It's just and like the road trip feel to it, like to me that's a perfect combination.
Definitely.
Um, Maybe like Mulholland Drive or like Eraserhead 2. Um, David Lynch, obviously. I mean, all it takes is like one look at the stuff I do to know that he's like obviously a big influence on me. Um, yeah, I probably wouldn't be doing what I do today without David Lynch. So yeah, he's definitely up there. And maybe a third. Uh, I don't know. I feel like they change all the time. I probably want to pick like an animation or something now. So
Yeah,
um, I don't know. You know what? Fuck it. I'll just say my favorite anime movie instead, which is Pompoko. Uh,
definitely. I'm a big fan.
just yeah, man. That shit's funny as fuck. Beautiful, sentimental, and weird as fuck.
Yeah. Are you gonna see the new Miyazaki, or have you seen it yet?
I had the chance when I was in New York, but I didn't end up doing it. But I'll probably just watch it like maybe around Christmas or something.
Yeah, yeah. I went to go see it. I don't know if I'll go see it again in theaters and just like wait until it gets online. But yeah, my first time seeing it, I was just like almost drawn to the screen like every moment. Like I didn't even want to go to the bathroom because I was just like I don't know like what exactly I'm gonna miss. And you know, this kind of like films and like music videos and that kind of stuff. I feel like that's something like you really get immersed in,
Yeah.
and like whenever you're like seeing it for the first time, it's just like every image counts. And so like especially with your own work, I'm sure that you're really conscientious about like what exactly I'm getting out there and giving, and also like conjuring up like a lot of media and art to kind of edit and figure out like what's working or not. Do
Oh
you,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Like
Do you kind of face
doing
any challenges like while working on your stuff?
uh I mean I don't know about challenges when it comes to stuff like that. Like if anything, I just try and learn from what people like the most. Like after I did like the 5 Starklemen stuff that I'm doing and like I posted snippets of that, I found like people really love like the esoteric, like cryptic, like fast, weird, surreal stuff. So a lot
Yeah.
of like the Instagram posts that I've been making lately have leaned more into that and gotten, I guess, faster and maybe weirder. Plus like having quicker and better like AI tools. It's just helped push all of that and I kind of feel like my work has like reached another level lately, and there's still so much stuff that I have that's unreleased too that I just need to put the finishing touches on and get out there. So yeah, like this time next year, plus with all like the other leaps in tech, I'm sure shit will be even more insane. Um,
Yeah. I-
yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what you have coming up then as well. Were you ever interested in making music? Did you ever make music too? And like,
Yeah, when I went to New York this time, I actually went with the purpose to like learn how to make music, and I didn't really end up doing that, but I did end up having a good time. Like I was hanging out with Dean Weenson.
yeah, they're great, awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, Dinason Bugger, he makes like experimental, like insect bug music, which is great. And he was like kind of showing me the ropes of that, and it is really inspiring to just. I mean, I really need to get into music. Like I've been saying it for years, and I've fucked around with it. I've made like a few things, but never anything that I've like properly released
Right.
in like an actual format. But I wanna.
You mentioned that you were a gamer. Do you still play video games today?
Not, not really. I don't really have the time that much anymore. I wish I did. I'm definitely going to be when GTA 6 comes out though. Like,
Oh, me too.
pick it up.
I can't wait for this drop. And I'm hoping Cult Records still has like that weird radio channel that they have going on.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I'm hoping that's still part of the picture. If
yeah.
not,
The
better
music of
have
GTA.
awesome. Yeah, like the music is just like so inspirational to like doing bad shit, committing crimes, doing like full on missions and like yeah, like following the storyline. Would you consider yourself an Xbox person still, or would you go?
Yeah, yeah. I've been I've been loyal to Xbox since like
Yeah.
2011, so I'm gonna be staying on that.
Yeah, I have to say I can't give up Xbox 360, and also like you know Xbox One, you know, gets the job done, and PlayStation 5 and stuff, but I still go back to my old school games that are like you know just not on the market. You have to buy
Yeah,
the physical and you just have to play it. And same thing with like PlayStation 3. Whenever PlayStation 2 first came out, I was just like, these PlayStation 2 games are amazing. I hope that, you know, it's a lot like a lifetime. I didn't ever expect PlayStation to transform into what it is today, especially with like
yeah.
Xbox. But I'm still in the battle of like which one's better because I have the PlayStation and the Xbox. But
Honestly, I feel like at this
yeah,
point the PS5 is better than like the new Xbox, but
the
I'm just
PS5
stupidly
has
loyal.
new video games. I don't know if it's better yet.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it depends if you're a gamer or if you're going to use it as like a media machine, which is mostly what
Yeah,
I'm gonna use.
watching stuff. Yeah, are you a fan of like TV shows?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been rewatching the Cleveland show lately.
I can't
Yeah,
believe they got canceled.
yeah, what a shame, man. I first saw that when it was like airing when I was like 11 to like 14, and now watching it like 10 years later, it's funny. It holds up, and David Lynch has cameos in it like all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. That's also like one thing about Seth MacFarlane, like he's able to still find like longevity in the stuff that
Yeah.
he's involved with.
Man, I really want
Yeah,
to work with Seth next year. I want to do a music video for One Foot in Front of the Other, which is a song that he's used in like Ted,
yeah,
he's used it in Family Guy. He like loves that song and there's no official music video for it, and I have
yeah.
a great idea for it. And I know that if I could somehow get in touch with him, I could get him to pay me to do an official music video for that.
That would be also amazing. I think the last time I looked up something about American Dad was like even throughout like all the changes and then being canceled and stuff, today they still have like 20 million like followers or
Wow.
viewers or something like that. And I was just like, whoa, like even throughout all this time they've had like a maybe like a minor decrease, but their decrease is still so impressive, like impressively high, and like
Yeah.
increasingly on like the anticipation about like, what they're doing. Like last night I watched the new episode of Family Guy, and the new 90 Day Fiance, and like I've been watching the new Rick and Morty. I can't believe this new season of Rick and Morty. It's been the most interestingly weird, less funny, more dark, and also like really, I don't know. Have you ever been a fan? Have you ever watched any of it?
Yeah, to be honest, yeah, I mean, I've seen like every one apart from the new season. I think I saw like the first episode of the new
This new
season.
season is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been that into it, but I do like it as casual viewing. But you know, I'm not
Exactly.
like a Rick and Morty super fan.
Same here. I don't think I've ever was a super fan. Maybe when it first officially dropped, I used to like take a lot of acid and like smoke weed, like right, like only whenever Adult Swim was starting. That was like my time. Like, oh, my parents are asleep. I can go downstairs and like smoke and like or trip and like be up for the rest of the night and like watch my shows. And like that was one thing I think was like maybe like a playground of like trying to find out like what you're interested in and like what you're not
Yeah.
interested in, and like what you would do and maybe what you wouldn't do. Would you ever do like your own TV show if you had the chance or
Oh,
together?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've talked to so many people about that. Like every time like I work with like someone who's up there who's connected, I'm like, come on, I gotta do a TV show. I got so many ideas. Like I
That'd be awesome.
every day like I make like these like minute long Instagram posts, and I know for a fact that I could make like a 20-minute long TV show in a week if I had like a team of like even 10 people with like a budget of like I don't know, like 3K or something. Like you know, if anyone listening to this wants to invest and have the fucking weirdest TV show ever,
Yeah.
yeah.
One thing I grew up like loving and adoring, like recording it on VHS until like VHS wasn't a thing, was like Robot Chicken. I'd always make sure
Yeah,
I would record that. And like now that I'm older and seeing like wow, these episodes are only 10-15 minutes long with like commercials and bullshit,
yeah.
like that has to mean like you're putting so much work and effort into like that one thing that you're premiering, if it's if it's good or not. And that's also kind of like the make it or break it in this industry,
Yeah.
if you're a musician or not, because like you're still trying new things and stuff like that. It seems like with your artwork and your video style, you're always up to trying new different directions, because like
Always.
yeah,
Yeah.
no video has ever been like an exact replica of what
Yeah.
you did before.
We are
Yeah.
like really the ones who like inspire me in that way. Like they're one of my favorite bands, and with every album, like pretty much
Yeah.
every song on every album, they're always like trying something new, and they're always keeping it fresh. And yeah, I try and do the same. I mean, AI is such an amazing tool for that. Like we can literally like tap into the collective unconsciousness for like anything you can imagine now. So the options are limitless, and that's what pisses me off about a lot of AI art. Like so many people that I see just make such generic stuff, like, and it all looks the same as like 100 different other pieces of AI art, but
It
with
doesn't
everything
matter
I
which
do.
generator you use too. It still seems like they're like tying in the knot,
Yeah,
how it's
yeah,
meant.
they'll just,
Yeah.
it's mostly people just using like DALL-E or like the basic text to video on Runway or something. When you mix tools together and you try new things, you can get so much stuff that you can't get if you just treating it as a crutch rather than as a tool. But AI is a tool. Like
Yeah.
it's it's so funny how many people are against it now, but I just know like 20 years from now, it'll literally be looked on the same as like CGI was in the 90s. Like people are gonna realize it's a tool.
Today, I feel like people are finally putting together like old anime that was from the 80s and 90s that are still like prevalent today, like how underpaid or underappreciated like these people that were like actually
Yeah,
working on cartoons that maybe like weren't even their own ideas, and like how like extensively awesome that still like artwork is and like inspirational for today's staple. And one thing I always mention is like right now, like we don't have like a new Walt Disney or new Tim Burton. We're still like trying to follow like these older traditions, but like
yeah,
have so many new wave, new born thinkers that are like it's like to me it's like it's going to happen of like the new Walt Disney of like how like stories and shows and movies are going to be like expressed and shown because of like how much like various media that we have and different ways of
yeah,
doing it, and also like the way like since this change has happened how people are able to still like tap into like movies today that's like, well, we have like the footage from like their TikTok reel, and we're going to show like a series of their TikTok reel, and
yeah.
have like the real people talk about like what they were doing and that kind of stuff. Are you ever interested in like documentaries and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I want to make a documentary about Five Star and the band who I'm doing a visual album for because their story is fascinating. I know that a few people have already like approached them, and there's like kind of something in the works, but I want to work on that. There's I mean, there's so much. Like, I'd love to do one on Ariel Pink and everything that happened
I
with
agree.
him.
That'd be awesome. That'd be like
Yeah,
what's needed for today's society, especially the real breakdown, and especially like the behind look and the unheard stuff, and
yeah,
the actual like work it takes to have something that's so accessible to so many people too, or relatable.
yeah. No, I mean there's so much. All of this stuff like it's if I had money or like any means of uh putting something like this together, I'd do it. I just don't know the exact ways to go about it. But that's something for me to work on in the new year. I really do want to like start some kind of production company and bring a lot of the talented people together that I know to work on jobs together more, kind of how like Grin Machine does it with like Daniel Strait, who's now doing like the McDonald's commercials and stuff, but did like Brockhampton
Yeah,
videos with his little team.
I'm
Um,
a really big fan.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I work as it is now to begin with. Like, whenever I get a big budget for a video, usually I find other people to work with to make that video even better, and then I direct it and contribute to it as well, and edit it, and then we just do it as a team. And I'd love to do that, but just more formally, and start getting more work in to do that, and then use like the remaining money from that work to fund documentaries and like TV shows and all of that stuff. And again, if anyone's listening to this and you can make that happen, hit me up.
One thing I think is really interesting about like the AI apps even if you're paying for it monthly or yearly, they're still so limited on how much time or how much like presence you
Well,
have.
that's why everyone should watch my class because I show
I
you
agree.
how to do all of this stuff for completely free. I don't pay for anything apart from Google Collab Pro
Yeah,
Plus. That's
yeah,
just
right.
so I have. That's just because I have a bad computer and I can't run certain things locally. But you really don't even need that. Like 99% of AI tools that I use are completely free, and even like Adobe Premiere Pro and Photoshop and all of that.
Yeah,
Like, if you want to get that for free too, DM me, can show you how to do that. All legal too, no torrents or like viruses or
right.
anything like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't really believe in paying for software like this when it's going to big corporations who don't really do shit with the money apart from make their software worse, which is exactly what Runway have been doing.
Without a
Same
doubt.
a bunch of other AI companies. So yeah,
One of
stay
the
tuned.
one of the first ones that I ever got interested in was a Morph AI, and then seeing how like without like with less than a year, how much changes and adaptations that they added onto seeing like the bring on to the AI like world, and was just like wow, like whenever it was it for starting, it was free and you could just type in as long as the stuff that you needed to and it would like present you with like solid content. But now it's like, oh, we have to give it a time frame and
Yeah.
also like if it's not going to work or whatever. And that's one thing where I'm like, okay, like the difference between of like working on your phone and then working on a computer. Do you ever kind of like only do stuff on your phone without using your computer like if you're
Uh,
yeah
not really. For a lot of the AI
yeah
stuff, it's usually interchangeable. Like,
exactly.
I can generate AI images on my phone, and then when I get to my computer later, I can then like edit them or tweak them or animate them.
Yeah,
So it's good for
yeah.
stuff like that because yeah, like you really do like when I did the class, like everyone was just following along with their phones and being able to do what I was doing off of my laptop on a phone. So you really don't even need like good software to be able to do most AI stuff. It's just about being creative and working with the limits you have. Like everything that I've ever done, like I've made off of terrible computers. Like I'm working on a like £200 Dell laptop right now, but I'm still able to do like the last Kuko video that I did on that. Like it's all possible.
How many backup hard drives would you say that you have?
I literally have one hard drive with everything on it that isn't
Okay.
backed. Yeah, really gotta get on that. Gotta get paid first though.
Yeah, like I have like a 2 terabyte one, and like this one's almost full, but I've been using it for about a year. And to me, I'm like the people that are like consistently working every single day, like how many terabytes exactly do you run through trying to like make sure like you have like 30-minute videos of like the most like best way of like exporting that, you know?
Yeah, usually like I mean I do struggle with storage space honestly, like less so with my hard drive, but more so when it like backs shit up to my main computer because that's like so limited. But yeah, I mean over the years I've gotten a lot better with like file management and like I mean basically whenever I'm done with a big project and I know for a fact like I'm never gonna need to like use the assets for it again or whatever, or like the raw video files, I'll just like usually delete everything and just make sure I have like the final raw video file.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Plus like I got all the stuff online too, so I can always download it there if anything goes wrong. But yeah.
Now we talked a little bit about movies and directors. What kind of music are you listening to lately?
Um,
The big one.
Sorry, I wasn't laughing then the way I was. Um, Right now, I've been listening to a lot of Cambodian music from like the
Okay.
60s and 70s. Two great albums for that. There's like Cambodian Cassette Archives and then there's Cambodia Rocks. If anyone wants to check them out, it's great. Like just really catchy, psychedelic, like lo-fi Cambodian music. Um, but I don't know, I'm always listening to new stuff and just like, I mean, whatever sounds good, really. I like love hypnagogic pop and like anything that's like lo-fi and like or like low bit or just like sounds like with that fidelity. I don't know, it just like pierces through to my brain and just like
Yeah.
tells it in the best way.
would you consider yourself like that, like top albums of all time or anything like that, or stuff you grew up?
Yeah, yeah. My favorite album of all time right now is Flamingo Breeze by Matrix Metals, which is this like really obscure hypnagogic pop album by this dude Sam Moran, who's in like a few other like hypnagogic pop bands. He was friends with like Ariel Pink and like James Ferraro and like everyone in that whole scene. And yeah, that album, I don't know, it just sounds the way my soul feels. I think like I paired it with the Five Starkle Men raw visuals that I made for an upcoming video. It's on my YouTube. It's like 24 minutes long. But yeah, I really, really love that album.
We'll get into some classic vibe osmosis. All right, so what are some hobbies outside of the computer?
Um, Probably walking and like doing magic mushrooms and
Yeah.
just listening to music and vibing and taking in nature and having ideas, which I guess isn't really a hobby at that point because it like kind of feels. But I don't know. I just like being outside and like exploring and just seeing nature.
What's
Yeah,
your
I used to
what's
game a
your
lot.
view?
That was one of my hobbies, but
Oh,
less so.
what's your view on like LSD and other psychoactives outside shrooms? I'm a big
I
fan of
mean,
all.
I'm down with any psychedelic drug, just as long as you're treating them right and being safe and taking
Yeah.
care of yourself. I like to microdose on shrooms whenever I can. Usually try and do it every day if I have the mushrooms, but they be running out from time to time. But yeah, just I don't know, it just helps me keep organized and like keep a clear head and I don't know, helps with creativity and just enjoying everything more. And it's nice.
Do you have pets?
Yeah, yeah, I got two cats. They're great. Learned a lot from them, just about nature and the
Do
way
you
that
know
people.
kind or what color or what's their names?
Audrey and Gabagool. Gabagool's a little. He's like a rat, honestly. Like he's great. I've never known another cat like him. But yeah, I love them both. They're tiny, tiny little cats.
What would you consider like a favorite dessert?
Um, Probably I don't know some kind of like strawberry ice cream or I don't know some nice gummy like kind of candy or sweet. I don't know. I'm not that big into chocolate, so probably not chocolate.
What would be your ultimate last meal?
Probably just like KFC, honestly. Probably just some boneless KFC, nice KFC gravy, like the perfect KFC gravy. And
Now, their bone in is okay, but I agree. Like they're boneless, you can never like you can never pass up. And their popcorn chicken, I feel
oh
like
yeah.
it's
Mhm.
endless. Even if you get a large, you're like, fuck, I should have got two large.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd actually maybe not that because then I'd be really sad that I'd never get to eat that again.
Would you consider yourself like a spiritual person?
Yeah, definitely a lot more so now than I used to be since starting to do psychedelics and like I don't know, man, like ever since like just following my intuition and like doing music videos and just doing all of this stuff and then getting to work with like my favorite artists and so much weird serendipitous stuff happening. Yeah, it's made me really, really spiritual actually. I don't know if I can put like a set definition to everything or anything, but yeah, I definitely think that there's something more going on. To
I'll throw out like whenever my brother passed away, me and my family, me and my sisters, we went out to a bar in like my local hood town, and we were like, we just got one drink, like one beer and stuff, and we were talking about good things, and then all of a sudden, like on the radio. my brother that passed away, Dirk, his favorite song started playing on the radio, and we were like, "There's just like no fucking way that this
Yeah.
song, there's no way that anybody would have ever chose this song." So and then we went up and asked like the bartender, and we were like, did anybody go on the touch tunes and like choose like a song? Like, is it free or whatever? And they were like, no, it's playing random right now. And we were like, holy shit, everything that just like we had a conversation of, and then like this song randomly playing, there's no real explanation on like why that song played. And that to me like really opened up like before prior I think I was more closed down to like something happens to you after you die, but then like whenever we were having that conversation and that stuff happened, I was just like, wow, like maybe I was wrong the whole time.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate stories like that. Like whenever I can, I try and read people's takes like that. Same with all aspects of life, even like dreams
True.
and like
I think
imagination.
there's a big reason why we have dream catchers from like centuries ago, and like why
Yeah.
we have people that are able to like dissect into what's happening in the subconscious mind. Like that's something that like you can't deny has been there for such a long time. And like if you look at the people that maybe like study or understand this, like what actual meanings happen like whenever you're dreaming. I mean, I feel like in today's world we have like a lot of shrinks that like kind of you're able to talk about, but prior to that it was like more of a spiritual thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's all I really do think that there's like a big connection, like a golden triangle between like psychedelics, like the supernatural and even like AI. Like I think it all
Definitely.
taps into the collective unconscious and it's all connected and it's all part of the same thing.
Um, do you know like one random fact about yourself, like first console or first memory or whatever?
Um, First console was probably like I don't know, maybe like PS1, I think, maybe in like 2005.
Yeah.
Uh, First memory, probably like being I don't know, probably like in a shop, in like a clothes store, I think, while I was like I think I was still being pushed around in a stroller when I was like a baby actually. And I just remember thinking like, damn, I do not want to be here right now. Like exactly the same as I would now, which is weird. Like I really do think a lot of babies do think exactly the same as we do, but they just don't know how to verbalize it at the time. Because I remember thinking and feeling exactly that, and I must have been like less than one.
What would you do you believe in astrology? Do you have like an astrological sign, or do you know your astrology
Uh,
stuff?
I'm Aquarius, but I don't know. I've never really looked into that too much. Bits and pieces, but I don't really have an opinion on it.
I'm gonna pack a bowl real quick, but
Nice.
yeah, I'm a big fan of weed. All right, so what do you consider sativa, indica? Do you remember the first time you smoked weed?
Honestly, I really can't even tell much of a difference between the different strains. Like, to me, if it's good weed, it's good weed. But the first time I tried weed, Uh, I think I was at a party and it didn't do much, and then I did it again like a week later. And I thought like rhinos were about to like pierce me like through a brick wall that I was like sat against, and I got really paranoid. But then I got like really hungry and had a pretty good time.
All right, so one of the first times I ever took weed, ever smoked weed, it was like out of a soda can, and I was like in the woods, like with my friends, and then like we went to the movies, and I remember like my first thoughts, like looking at like the movie carpet, was just like, all this stuff in the movie like is awesome, and like the carpet, it's vibrant, it's so cool and colorful and like designed and stuff. Like whoever thought about putting this here, and like I love whoever put this there. Whenever you trip, do you ever kind of think about like the way like things are connected to you without like it being there, like maybe consciously?
Yeah, all the time. Like, I think the last time I did acid, I kept seeing like Illuminati triangles over
Oh.
everything. I was like, damn, what the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I probably unpacked a lot of meaning from that. That's now like in my subconscious, but that is something that I started incorporating into my work more after that, and that's been like nearly every post that I've made since.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like symbolism and like reptile brain shit like that.
What would you consider like a favorite song, like all time?
Uh, Oof. I don't know. I can give you my favorite song that I listened to the most this year from my Spotify Wrapped,
Yeah.
which is a song called Rage by The Necessaries, which was this band that Arthur Russell was in like the 80s. They did like kind of post-punky stuff. I don't know. I don't know why I listened to that song so much this year, but God, I probably listen to it like every day. Um, yeah.
I'm gonna take note real quick. Oh yeah, so here's a classic vibe osmosis. A time machine. If you had a time machine, would you go forwards or backwards?
Probably backwards. Probably like go to I don't know, maybe the 90s or something. Just make a bunch of movies that haven't been made yet. Make a bunch of
Yeah.
music that hasn't been made yet. But you know, I wouldn't just steal it from the people. Like, I'd collab with them and we'd make it better.
What would you consider like a deep fear you may have, or like a ultimate fear of like dying or something?
I hate flying.
Flying, yes, it's
Um,
terrible.
yeah. I don't know. Other than that, though, like I don't know. I feel like I haven't been scared in a while. But I know that there's so many situations that I could get put in where I would be. But I don't know. I kind of crave it. I miss it. I kind of want to be scared, but I don't want to feel like my life's gonna end, you know?
I'm like a really big fan of like horror and slasher flicks and thriller
Me
and
too. They
stuff.
just don't really scare me anymore, though. Like they haven't in
Yeah,
a
to,
long
to me, I'm like I'm wondering like what elements about like watching Nightmare on Elm Street or whatever for the first time was like that's like what got me, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And like in today's world, I feel like as you get older, you try to dissect like those kind of films that are like repetitive, and also like the ones that are like maybe not so like, oh, you just like randomly were drunk one night. Like I've seen that Infinity Pool, and the Alexander and his wife or whatever was like driving at night and like ran over a person, was like, what do we do with the body? And like to me, I'm like, yeah, that would be like ultimately terrifying if you were alone and it was just you and your partner and you happen to like run over somebody. Like
Oh
what the
yeah.
fuck would you do in that scenario, and how would that play out, especially if you're like rich and on vacation?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
much
would be
prefer
crazy.
intensity, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, like the Safdie Bros films, like they're so tense, and I feel like more horror movies need to lean into that. I'd love to see the Safdie
Yes.
Bros make a horror movie. I feel like they'd do an amazing job.
Now to be like ultimately frank on this one, like being in major debt and having a family would be probably like an American nightmare.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
Anybody's
definitely.
nightmare of like having to owe somebody that much money and like not knowing like what you're gonna do about it in the overall outcome. And that's like I think that's one thing that I guess like leads up to me. I think like a fear for me would be like gambling with like too much money that I don't have. or like
Yeah.
whenever the moment like you're taking out like the money, you have the money on the mortgage of your house and you're betting on it and you lose it, like what that actually looks like in real time, rather than like what a movie shows you.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like most people, well, apart from those who are rich, can
yeah,
relate to financial issues. So I feel like that
definitely.
is something that more horror movies should lean into. Lean into that because that is like one of the scariest real world things that we have to deal with today.
And like I feel like with like in today's world we deal like a lot with like psychological issues and like ideology and like social structures and like especially with money and like if a dystopian thing happened, if the climate change really affected the entire world
Yeah.
or whatever, and how that would play like and especially with like atomic bombs and that kind of stuff. Did you go see Barbie or Oppenheimer? I know that's like one of
Yeah,
the
I saw Barbie, but I've not seen
yeah,
Oppenheimer yet. But just before that, I did listen to like the full last podcast series
right.
about the atomic bomb, so I'm pretty well versed on that. But yeah, Barbie was decent. I don't feel like I enjoyed it as much as everyone else seemed to enjoy it, but
Well, for me, I remember whenever I first went to go see Barbie in theaters, I went a couple of drinks in, I was kind of drunk and loose, and I was
so
like automatically laughing, like like within like the first like 15, 20 minutes, and realizing not that many people were laughing, or if only I was the only one, and I was like, am I the only one like this high in hype like for like what this movie is giving you, or like are people not getting the fact that they're making fun of like men and women right now, where we're like how we come together in so many ways. I was just
true,
like,
true.
oh shit, I don't know if I was made to come and see this in theaters yet.
At least you had a good time with it.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like with theater right now, it's a little bit about that because like ever since COVID, it's been about more about like what the story is and like what the story is telling and like how that correlates or who's involved. Did you ever have like certain artists or people like you'd want to be involved in the project?
Oh yeah, man! Like this next year, I've been talking with Weezer's management because I really want to work with them, and hopefully I will be on their upcoming album. That'd be a dream come true because like they're the band that got me into music in the first place when I was like 16. But yeah, other than them, like obviously I want to work with Ween.
Yeah,
I've been really fortunate to work with so many of my favorite artists at this point. But I mean, I'd still love to work with Kanye, even though he's like cancelled as fuck. But I don't care. Like,
I'm still a big fan of Kanye West, and one thing I recently seen of the South Park creators were like there's not like a gray line or anything like we don't want to make fun of or like anything that we don't see as like comedy because and one big instance or example that they bring up is like how Sean Penn went to go and speak about like the war that's going on and stuff like that and like how they're like this actor that thinks like he has like
yeah,
so much power and stuff is going to talk about something that's actually like real to so many people and like how like humorous that is because of like their status or structure and like how that applies like real people. They're like we don't want to say like that's not funny because obviously like
yeah,
artists and situations come from like actual things, and that was one thing I think that really stuck out to me was like okay like you can apply to like what's in your life to like something that like is more relevant today and how to like apply that into your art and but with like music with music and like artists and stuff I think like you see that translation and like the feelings and vibes of like their music and like how that can correlate with you but also be like a timeless thing because of how that's like a maybe like an endless topic for like what we go through today
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah,
I feel like all the best art taps into that. Like all of the best art is
definitely,
timeless. Like even stuff that feels dated a lot of the
definitely,
time
yeah.
can always be remixed and reinterpreted, and the core elements of it can work in something new. Um, yeah, I really believe in that.
If you had a time machine, would you go forwards or backwards?
I think you asked me that earlier, unless I've gone back in time, but still
Yeah, but
backwards, yeah.
but like why back in time and like like what time period, like what time period
Yeah,
or
yeah, like
what you think?
again, probably the 90s still. Like I just feel like it's I don't know, I feel like I'd have thrived pretty well in the 90s
Well,
too.
well, like I remember like you saying like trying to like recreate stuff or and still give it to like the artist, but like I'm wondering like if there's like any kind of like messages or like themes like you're trying to portray like for the future. That's more my end goal on this one.
Oh well, to be honest, I probably just do it for selfish reasons, just to have
I
fun.
get that. I
Uh,
get that. And I feel like with the future,
I'd probably warn about 9/11 and everything, but I feel
yeah.
like if I went back in time, the butterfly effect would probably change all of that anyway.
I agree. I think to some degree like if you go future if you go to the future and then you step back you're trying to figure out like what could you do to change the future because you can no longer go back to the future if that was the case. Um and also like with the past it's like to me like trying to find out like what things you would like have better for the future even if you weren't going to exist or not. And like I think like with music right now, we have like a like the split between the new wave, the new generation that
Yeah.
listens to music that is not involved with like the music that you can maybe consider like dad rock or today's dad rock of like listening to the bands that are now old today and and like how that can kind of like correlate together. Like with one of the bigger ones I've seen movie wise lately is Killers of the Flower Moon with Leonardo DiCaprio and how he's like almost 50 playing like a certain character in this film but still having like elements of that movie that is still like relevant from the past until today and
Yeah.
probably tomorrow if we're still talking about discrimination here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Martin Scorsese's like a go at that stuff, and that's why
Definitely.
his films are so revered still today because they are just timeless, and it's great that he's still making shit that hits the same.
Like for me, like I think whenever I go in the future, besides like seeing like what movies were made and stuff like that, and like what things I could warn, I still think about like from that time on in until like whatever time period that I made, like what kind of adjustments can I make for that other future to work better or to be better? And like what kind of like actual like information or facts. Like one of the movies I went to go see was Napoleon. Have you seen that one yet?
No, not yeah, one of them.
I'm really big on Napoleon because like that's one of those ones where it's a staple of like what I feel like America right now is so focused on like what happened back then and like how did that kind of shape and what happened with the Civil War, but like the dichotomy and the ideology behind like what was happening at the time and not thinking like that there was going to be much of the future, like what that actually looks like on today's world. And with like I think with like society and art right now, we have like that kind of like confusion of like trying to tie in like as much as like of our own experience and like what is actually there to still like maybe be like translated well. Do you ever
Yeah.
like worry about like how your art is going to be translated with it being like
Honestly,
different media and various? Yeah.
honestly I try not to as much as I can.
Yeah.
I actually had a conversation with one of my other artist friends about this the other day because he's reluctant to like reveal himself to be working on a certain project with
All right.
a certain person out of fear of how he may come across for that. But
Yeah.
it's something I deal with a lot. Like I dealt with it when I worked with Ariel. Like there were a bunch of
True.
people like fuck you, you shouldn't work with this guy. I'm following you, you know, like Fantano being one of those people. And
Yeah, right.
like ultimately it was honestly one of the best things that happened to me because you know I got more work from it from different people who actually cared about the art and not about like any of the other bullshit involved with it. And like even the latest Kuko video that I did, like his management for that, like they you know they vibed with me over the aerial stuff and like you know, saying fuck you to Fantano basically because they had beef with him like 15 years ago when they had to like fire him from a job. So yeah, this shit runs deep. But yeah, I'm here for the art and the art only really.
All right, so we'll get into some classic vibe osmosis questions, okay? This one I think is essential to every episode. If you're stranded on an island and you could only bring one thing with you, what would you take?
Um, loaded gun. I don't know. No, probably I don't know. Like damn, I don't know. One item's hard because yeah, if I'm gonna be stuck on the island, I'd want to survive as well as I could.
Yeah.
Um, maybe I don't know, pop up a house or a tent or something. Sleeping bag, maybe. Probably a sleeping
That's the
bag.
best answer I think I've gotten so far. Like, having shelter is important.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a sleeping bag. Final answer.
And like I think like whenever every time I travel on a plane, like one of the things like is my carry-on is a sleeping bag because I'm like at least I know I can use this while like I'm sitting down and I can be
True.
comfortable watching something. But afterwards, I know I can throw this in the trash and buy another one. But like, oh my God, like some like 13, 14, 10 hour flights, 7 hour flights, 6 hour flights. I'm like, I gotta have at least a blanket. Are you ever
Yeah.
like that, or are you kind of more like they better have food and booze?
Yeah, yeah, definitely the latter. Like, I hate flying, so the more booze I have down me, the easier it becomes.
Yeah, the easier.
Yeah.
What would you consider like a like a something that you would wish like people were less afraid of, like outside of your own fear?
AI.
Yeah, like I think
Definitely
I think there's a big
AI.
backlash on the AI.
If people were more willing to embrace it and use it for their own personal whatever in the way that I use it for my art, you know, like all these artists that are complaining about AI and their jobs being taken by AI,
Yeah,
like just
yeah,
use it yourself then and make something new with it, and then you can just supercharge your own work already. Like painters or like traditional 2D artists should train AI on their styles of art and make quick commissions maybe for a cheaper price or something if they have it done with AI or you know like whatever you know just be smart about it uh don't be hating and then be upset when your work gets overtaken like
yeah. What would you consider like a favorite memory or early memory about working on your own art?
Um, honestly, probably the first time I made a music video. I remember having the idea one day when I was like on the bus going to college. I was listening to this Conan and the Moccasin song,
Yeah?
Sneaky Dog Friend, and I was just like paying attention to the lyrics and the beat and everything, and it reminded me of these like Japanese Calbee chip commercials, which have like this big like uh fursuit dog man in it, and I was like, oh, sneaky dog friend, that commercial. I bet I could make a good edit where they match together. I did that, and I was like, hell yeah, this is fun. And then like a week later, I made another video, and then another and another. And I was like, damn, I just gotta keep doing this. I love doing it, and yeah, just kept doing it, and it turned into all of this.
Um, this one I think is a classic one. What would you say is like a worst memory about working on art?
Um, honestly, probably when I was working with Moa Lola, who's like she's like a fashion designer and also musician and artist and shit. But yeah, she works with like Yeezy gap, and I worked on a video that she was working on where like they got rid of the director before that, and it had been like in production for like a year, and then we just had like so many back and forths where they were just like unresponsive or would like set up ridiculous meetings or like call at dumb times or whatever. And yeah, it was just not a very fun project to work on for not a lot of money, and it was like a lot of work for not even that good of an outcome. Um, but yeah, and just, dealing with like record label bullshit and all of that. But I it's been pretty good lately in regards with all of that. There's not been too much annoying red tape to go through.
Yeah, what would you say is like a challenge maybe you face like taking on a client?
Um, I don't know that. There's been a few like the stuff that I just mentioned, I guess, and also um I don't know, just like a lot of the time, like if I'm dealing with an artist directly and like there's not management involved or something like that, like I did these free music videos for this guy, Fredo Disco, in like 2022 that I've still never been able to release because, he just never got back to me and then like kind of went silent online. I mean, I got paid for them, so I can't complain in that regard, but I am really proud of those videos, and like five other people were involved, like five other artists who I work with to bring them to life. And yeah, I'd love to post them. Like, to be honest, I don't even care that much at the end of the day when it comes to like being dicked around by like management or whatever. But if it comes to not being able to release the art that I made, that sucks. I feel like the art should always be released.
I'm on the same page. Like recent, I mean, more than I'd say like one in the past was like making songs with other artists that you paid for, or like having the mixing and mastering for, but then you're like, maybe I don't like that as much anymore, and like want to do something that is different, and then but you're still having that other artist attached to, or mixer or producer, and then like another big one I think for me is like working, yeah, like working on a music video that's collaborative, and then finding out like they actually like don't want to put that out
Yeah,
published or anything like that, and but we'll have like that maybe like under their dock, and you're like, well, like I did like a lot of really good and cool work for that, and I enjoyed like working on that and would like that to be out, but if it's not going to be out, like I guess there's not much I can do about it at this point.
yeah,
I can totally relate to that because some of the stuff you think like like really tapped into like what that song was or like what that vibe is, but as time changes I get like even as an artist like you have different feelings or perceptions
definitely.
about that
I
work.
feel like even then though, like put the work out there, like even if it's like under a different pseudonym or it's just
Yeah,
online, so the artist can like show people and be like, look, I did do this work. I do have like something under my portfolio.
right, yeah.
Yeah, I just wish well, I don't know. I don't know how different my life or career would have been if those videos came out, but would have been
Yeah.
cool to at least see.
Yeah, and I think in my point of view too, like especially as like in the musician wise, it's like I don't know if like having these other artists as a feature on or collaborator on would have changed like anything for me, but I still have like oh that vibe or that sound or whatever like was kind of cool or like essential to what I do now, and
Yeah.
to me it like also like shows like that progression or that change. um do you ever have stuff like in your past where you didn't put out and you were like, okay, like maybe like that thing that I did like 5 years ago would actually be cool now, or would you want
Yeah,
to?
yeah. There's a shit post I made back in like 2017 called Weezer Can't Stop Partying with Hitler, where where I there's like a live version of Can't Stop Partying by Weezer where Rivers like messes up one of the lyrics and
Yeah.
he says Jews instead of jewels, and then I was on my shit post shit, so I was like, okay, I can make a whole like shit post song about this where Rivers is actually like anti-Semitic and and like cosplaying as Hitler. And I still get DMs to this day from people being like, "Bro, does that video still exist?" Because it was like one of the best shitposts I ever saw. But YouTube removed it a few years ago. I still have the video, but I've never put it back online since because
Right.
probably
You
get
never
cancelled
know.
for it. Even though it is just a joke, and like at the start of the video, I literally preference it. I'm like, don't take this seriously. It's just a shit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I do kind of still want to release that one day. Maybe not right now though. With everything that's going on, I feel like yeah, now would probably be the worst time. I mean, the pro-Palestine people would love it though, but fuck that. That's not a bag of worms I want to particularly get into.
All right, so like what about like physical copies, like DVDs, CDs and that kind of stuff? Do you ever do those yourself? Like put stuff on CD or DVD and pass it out as
The
place?
I wanna the Five Star Men visual album that I'm working on. That's gonna be released on VHS when it's all completed. We'll probably make like a few hundred copies of that or something. And yeah, to be honest, like I really would love to put a lot of the stuff that I haven't uploaded on YouTube or like I've compiled into like a visual album onto like DVDs and just sell them or even like randomly place them in like DVD stores and just see if anyone takes them.
All right. Well, I think I think one of my last vibe osmosis questions will be any current projects or anything that you have lined up that you'd want to shout out.
Yeah, that visual album, the Five Star Men one, that should be completed at some point next year. I got a video for that coming out before the end of the year too. I'm doing a few videos, maybe a visual album for Team Mechano too, which are these great hexed musicians. That's gonna be really sick. Um, and other than that, like just working on a few smaller projects and other videos right now. And yeah, maybe got another Kuko video coming up that he's making a song specifically for like my visuals for, so that's kind of crazy. And yeah, just 2024 should be a fun year. I'm excited to see how it plays out.
Well, it should be the Vibe Osmosis featuring Kingcon2k11. For the future people. Well, I appreciate you taking this time to join Vibe Osmosis, and hopefully it's a good rest of your day. I'll keep you posted on all this.
You too, man. Yeah, thanks for chatting with me, and sorry it took so long to get organized. I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, yeah, no worries. And yeah, I'll keep in touch, all right?
All right, peace, man. Have a good day.
Peace.